Well, good morning, everybody. Yes, that's Dave Kammerer taking pictures of goats. That proves that he is a city boy.
Wait a minute, I got my...
He's got his kickers on, and he's got his little goats out here on the farm. And Dave is with Summit Funding and a big fan of the McKenzie River Trust. And we're going to show you something so cool besides the beautiful goats. This is the Berggren Watershed Conservation Area, and what you're looking at is a farm. So this is a 92 acres right on the McKenzie River, and actually my house is right on the other side of those trees right there. That's where I live. So these are my neighbors, and they raise goats out here for meat. So they sell the meat. They have obviously free-range chickens out here as well, which is what those are. And then way out there, we're gonna walk past them, they do free-range ducks as well. And this is just like one of the cool places. So
ducks.
Huh?
I didn't know ducks could be free-range. I thought they were just wild ducks, right?
Welcome to Springfield,
right?
Oregon. So you guys, this is east of Springfield out on Camp Creek Road. And Brandy, who's with the McKenzie River Trust, will come in and kind of explain how this works. But it's really cool because it's right on the McKenzie River, and there's a lot of farmland on the McKenzie River. And the trust wants to make sure, and through this farm, it's kind of an experimental thing where they're learning how to farm what you can and can't use right next to the river. Because in the future, more and more of that farmland will hopefully come into the trust and be preserved and protected. And they want to know that they still want to use the land as farm, but we just want to know it's smart.
Do the right thing with respect to the watershed.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different agencies involved with this. EWEB is involved because of clean water right on the McKenzie. This is a mile of riverfront, so right on the water. Dick.
Your drinking water is flowing past us as we speak.
Dick Hunsacker was the former property owner, and I think you know Dick, and Dick is a friend of ours, and he worked this deal with everybody, so he thought this is a great piece of land to be using. So the trust owns it. EWEB is also a partner in that. The McKenzie Watershed is also involved, and then there's a farm company that they lease this land from the McKenzie River Trust, and they do farming out here. So next week, she told me next week a bunch of kids from Briggs Middle School will be out here.
That's cool.
Doing some conservation work on the property. So come over here, Brandy. I've been kind of spewing at people. Dave was taking pictures of goats, so I couldn't resist. I had to start.
You had to start.
I had to start. So,
okay.
You guys, this is Brandy with the
Good
McKenzie River
morning.
Trust. So I kind of explained the basics of how this works, but tell me who the partners are involved in this and when you bought this.
Okay, so the McKenzie River Trust purchased this 92 acres in 2010. And as a local land conservation group, our main priority is protecting fish and wildlife habitat and clean drinking water. And so that was the main focus in purchasing this land. But the unique thing about this particular property under conservation is that it's along the McKenzie River, has over a mile of river frontage, but also has a farm as well. So this particular property is being managed both for conservation and for farming, growing local food, which is so important as well.
And I was telling people how this is kind of giving you an idea as a trust, because hopefully more farmland will come into the trust in the future, and so we know how to use it wisely. And so right behind us, this is an upper area. So this is an upper field where we've got goats, we showed you, we got ducks, we're going to walk by them, and then we're going to take you down to the lower field, which is actually a floodplain. So you got two different ways of doing things here. We got one where you're not going to flood probably up here, but down lower may, so you can't have structures down there, but you can still grow.
You've been listening. I'm impressed.
Wow. I'm a reporter, so you know what? I take this stuff. I dissect it, and there it goes. Show them that. Can we show them the map? I really want, and Dave wants to see this too. So again, you guys, we are out east of Camp Springfield. So where are we right now?
So this is Camp Creek Road, and Bellinger Boat Landing is just downstream from our property here, just about right here. And so we are located, we're standing about right here, and all of this in the white. 92 acres is owned and protected by the trust. And so you've got Zone A, which is the residential
So there's a house, you guys, right here where people that work on the farm, they live here in the house.
Right. The farmer leases this portion of the property from the trust. And so this is a bit older image. There's now barns and greenhouses in this area and row crops, as well as lots of farm animals. And then this piece here is the agriculture agriculture zone, which is about 30 acres. And then C, this area right along the river, which is almost 60 acres, is all riparian zone. So it has some beautiful side channel habitat, some amazing wildlife, and of course you've got the Mackenzie.
You can actually see the channel.
Yeah,
there's maybe some little flooding there sometimes.
So you guys, we're going to take you down here first real quick.
The bottomland, right?
Come over here, my dear. So we're going to, so this is the, tell them who you are.
Okay, so hi, my name's Angela Andre, and I'm the farm director for Phoenix Farm Enterprises.
So you lease the farm from the Mackenzie River Trust.
Yes, I have.
And what are you doing out here?
So our main goal is conservation farming. So we farm without using any herbicides, pesticides, chemical fertilizers, antibiotics, all the nasty chemicals that nobody wants in their food.
And it's especially important for you because you're right on the river.
Right, because we're right on the river. Brandy might have mentioned, the wells for the Springfield water system is right across the stream, right across the river from us, and the intake for all the Eugene Water and Power for the city of Eugene, their water intake is just a mile down the river from us.
So I want to give you a plug. So you guys, if you want fresh goat meat, chicken eggs, fresh chickens that are grown the way they're supposed to be, and duck. The farm stands open every weekend out here on Camp Creek. You can come out and you can enjoy the property and buy some really great fresh stuff.
Right, and we also sell our products are served at some of the best restaurants in town. If you eat duck at Rye, that's our duck. If you eat chicken at Party Downtown, that's our chicken. Yep.
So you bring students out here, interns, that come out and learn how to farm, learn how to take care of animals, learn what you're doing.
Right, and that's really the second major goal of the farm is to be an educational farm. We bring in not only just interns, Sophia and Cricket come from New York and California. I have another kid who's doing an agripreneurship, so he's actually taken over one of the poultry operations, so he's kind of taking the whole learning level to the next level where he actually is kind of managing everything. And then we also bring out school groups. We just had the U of O's Sustainable Agriculture class out here this last weekend. They were here for the day to do a tour and learn about how you do sustainable agriculture, do some hands-on work stuff. It was kind of nice.
Well, thanks for taking care of it because it's my neighborhood.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I like it when Jay moved into the neighborhood. It wasn't a housing development. I was happy. Okay, young ladies, come here. I'm going to get right in between you here, or right here, like this. So, where are you from? You're from New York?
I'm from New York.
And where are you
from? I'm from Napa, California.
So, what do you want to be if you grow up?
I potentially want to have my own farm with goats and maybe some veggies and cows and just grow food.
And you want to be a veterinarian?
I'm thinking about it. I want to do something with animals, but I'm not quite sure what yet.
So has this been a real learning experience coming all the way out to Oregon? You're from where?
California.
Okay, and you're from New York.
Yeah.
A little different than New York,
It
huh?
is, yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you guys are here.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, welcome.
All right, you guys, so we're going to try to get you down to this property here. Hopefully we'll keep our signal. So again, we're out on Camp Creek Road, Berggren, the Berggren Watershed Conservation Area. And Dave Kammerer, that's him. He's our sponsor with Summit Funding. He's like a big fan of the Mackenzie River Trust, and this is Brandy. She is the Mackenzie River Trust.
Well,
She's one of the many.
many.
We always make whoever comes on the show, they get to be the charge.
Great.
So tell us what else is going on out here.
Well, gosh, so much is happening on this particular property. In addition to having Phoenix Farm here leasing and growing amazing local food, produce, and meats, we also, as I mentioned before, are doing a lot of restoration on this property, and we partner strongly with the Mackenzie Watershed Council, who we actually have a contract with, and they are doing a lot of enhancement work in the riparian area with planting natives, removing non-native invasive plants, and just a lot of work in trying to take care of this very special property along the Mackenzie River, which again is, for most people in our community, is the sole source of our drinking water.
So they're teaching us what kind of plants we want to get rid of, but what kind of plants we can plant also between the farm and the river to make sure that everything stays clean and pristine and that kind of thing.
Right. And You know, we get grant dollars. Most of our funding to do this work, to do restoration, to do acquisition, we're able to tap into grants that are available. This particular property was funded by Bonneville Power Administration,
Oh, okay.
as well as EWEB. EWEB is a big investor, of course, in lands along the Mackenzie because they are providing and responsible for providing clean drinking water again for our community. So those were the two funders that we were able to work with to purchase this property, as well as for the Watershed Council, let's see, OWEB funding was helping to fund that.
And so you've had this only 8 years.
Yeah.
It seems like longer than that, you know?
Well, you know, I guess it does. There's so much happening now. I mean, with that incredible farm and everything that Angela has accomplished here, the partnership with the Watershed Councils, the amount of restoration in 2016, we, with the Mackenzie Watershed Council, they planted over 20,000 native trees and shrubs.
Here?
In the riparian area. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Me either. Now we do, right? Thank you.
So are there times, Brandy, that people, like other than Dave and me coming out here and doing this, that people can come and tour the property and see what you're doing?
Well, we do a lot of guided tours of the property where we'll bring out a local expert, maybe a bird expert or a native plant expert, or you know, whatever it might be the focus of that particular tour. And so you can go to our website and sign up for tours on this property and a whole list of other properties that we own.
And what's fun to me about this is completely different than what you guys normally do, really, with the farming and that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
To this degree, yes. To this degree, absolutely. It's fairly new for us, but something we're looking forward to learning from and kind of modeling, using this model for other properties that we acquire in the future.
It makes perfect sense because you want farming along the watershed.
There is farming along the rivers.
And it's probably one of the most impactful activities along the watershed too, isn't it?
Right, right. So as we're learning, and you know, our farm community, and we're able to partner with them, we're all learning together. We all share this community. We want to be able to help support locally grown food. We need clean drinking water. We want fish and wildlife. You know, this is our community as a whole.
Right.
So we need to prioritize all of these things, and how can we come together and care for this community for now and into the future.
You guys, so there are also bees out here.
Yeah.
That property on the other side of the fence is private, and then that mountain up there, just so you people know, that is a county park. That is your park up there, and there is a way to get to it, and nobody goes up there except for the neighborhood, so I'm letting you in on a little secret, but there's an old rock quarry that goes up there, and it's a beautiful hike right up in here, and you get up to the top, and you look right down this thing into the Mackenzie River. It's absolutely stunning. It is a county park. It's yours, and you can get access to it. But don't come through my property because mine doesn't go to it. But there is a way.
I can park at your place, right?
Yeah. You guys can text me and I'll tell you how to get there. So this is a road that goes down to the lower property, you guys. And this is the floodplain. So this is where you have to do farming a little bit differently. And there are no structures down here.
Right.
And then if you remember on the map, on the other side of those trees over there, there's little waterways. And then the Mackenzie is another, what?
Not even a quarter of a mile.
Like a quarter of a mile
Like
out
that.
there.
So this is a really nice long side channel, and just on the other side of that tree line there. And so we're going to turn and walk towards it. As you're looking out, you're going to see to the left, there's native plants, native shrubs that have been planted. So we've created a buffer in certain areas between that side channel and the agriculture area. And
So there's a natural filtering with that?
Well, yes, and as well as there's a lot of pollinator plants that have been planted. And as we walk down, we'll see even more. But having this collaboration or complement the agriculture and the farming that's happening with the side channel habitat and having a pollinator hedgerow in between, creating that buffer, obviously is very good for our native pollinators, which are struggling. And the pollinators benefit the farm, and as well as, you know, benefit the natural area.
Right.
So here we are trying to create that cynicism.
So you guys, this is 92 acres on the Mackenzie River, a little over a mile of riverfront. Just up Camp Creek, about the 4-mile post, there's a farm. And back in 2010, the property owner worked with the McKenzie River Trust, eWeb, Bonneville, and the Watershed, right? McKenzie Watershed.
McKenzie Watershed Council is
And
our
they
restoration
purchased
group.
this land and have created an experiment to kind of see how we can, in the future, make sure farming is a part of the riverfront, but also that is being environmentally sensitive and caring about what goes in. Because from this, about a half a mile that direction, is the McKenzie River. And you guys have some of the most beautiful land out here. And I'll tell you, from walking out here, there's all kinds of wildlife.
You can hear the birds.
Oh yeah.
I've seen, we have coyote, there's cougar, elk, deer, of course, beaver, river otter. We've also got red-legged frogs, which is a threatened species.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew they were threatened. I didn't know we had them out here.
Yes, we
I mean, they're
do.
fast because they're red-legged. Right?
Very good.
You can't take cobra out of the boy, can you?
Not at all.
And we've got western pond turtle, which is another threatened species, as well as Oregon shrub. Oregon shrub was on the endangered species list and actually was the first freshwater fish to be delisted just a handful of years ago. And that was a huge deal, the first freshwater fish to be delisted from the endangered species list. Yeah, and that was all right here in our community up and down this river system in the Willamette. There's we have 5 properties that have Oregon chub on them, and ODF and W worked really hard to recover that species and partnering with all sorts of groups up and down the river and landowners.
So a question might be from some of you is, why do people like Dave Kammerer care, and why does Brandy care? Well, she's a local girl and he's a local boy, so they're both from here.
Right.
They've grown up with and near the McKenzie and on it, and now I'm kind of adopted into it because I've lived on the river for 20 years, and you kind of get sucked in where you realize how important it is. Now look, you guys, you got to see this. Hold on. So look, see, here's where they planted. Look, see right in here. Those are the native species that they've planted to keep the division between here's the farmland and then here's going down to the river. So creating the. Did you see the birds? Look, the birds in the. See, it's working. The birds are coming out of those little trees because there's little berries on there right now, or little flowers. Well, what? I got to go see.
Yeah, so this is again that native pollinator hedgerow.
Oh yeah. So see, this is stuff that they know they want.
We're eating these berries. We've got some Manuka
Speaking of
rose.
native pollinators, there's one right there.
Ooh, good eye. Where?
It's a big one right there. Back there we go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Big old bee.
Native bee. And our native bees are so important. Good eye, Dave.
So see, and that, you guys, if you look way up here, I'm going to just kind of point to it. That's the house where the students live, right up in here. So that's the upper property. You can see it's up on a little rise, and that's where they live. And then this is the lower property. God, this looks so good. Okay, let's get down to this river.
Yeah.
We got to see. This isn't the McKenzie. We can't get that far because it would be. It's a channel to it, yeah.
It's a side channel, and so it comes out from the McKenzie and then heads right back out. So it provides really important habitat for fish to get out of that fast-moving water in the main channel of the McKenzie, as well as wildlife. You know, this is where they thrive. This is where they grow. This is, you know, where they nest. This is all of these things that are, and these side channels are fewer and
Look
fewer.
at the levels. It's like we went from the second story,
Yeah.
to the first story, and now we're walking down to the basement.
Somebody on here said we need native Oregonians. Okay, there's your native Oregonians right there. And I happen to be one too. I'm just not a native Eugenian Oregonian.
Oh, no,
Susan Kelly Mitchell, we need to introduce them to GSI. I think they need our systems. GSI. You guys, we are. I'll tell you what.
GSI.
We are open to anything.
Yes.
Oh, look
So
at
you can
this.
see this side channel, you know, moving through. It's all ponded up on this end. We've got a beaver dam here that has kind of helped create this pond.
See that right there?
Which, and you might have to your feet wet just a little bit, but not bad. For
Okay,
the
we're-
adventure today. And then you can, see into the pond where you'll
Oh,
find
yeah.
all sorts of amazing
Okay, hold on, guys. Now,
wildlife and creatures.
here's what you need to see. This is the beaver dam, guys. So we have a beaver who's been hired by the McKenzie River Trust because they're very powerful people. They even work with beaver and wildlife. But look, so check it out. There's the
little
beaver
beaver
built
dam.
that little dam for them. And then here's the pond that goes up here. And this is all feeds off the McKenzie River.
So there's all sorts of little fish and creatures that live here, from rough-skinned newts to juvenile Chinook salmon. Of course, you know, our other native freshwater fish. And when Brian Banks from ODF&W was out here doing a fish inventory last year, I happened to be here, and he was also he pulls up these live traps that he sets the night before. And there were also giant Pacific salamanders that he pulled up, which personally for me, I grew up in the Thurston area, and I remember catching the giant Pacific salamanders as a child, and they were so big.
They're long.
Yes, they're incredible, and you never see them anymore.
And so they're
it's
here.
so rare, or at least I rarely come across them.
Right.
But they're here, and I was just like, oh, that is so incredible.
You guys,
They
what
got
this
smart.
kind
They
of...
stay away from grade school, high school kids now.
So you guys, we are at the Berggren Watershed. Did I do it right?
Mm-hmm.
Watershed Conservation area off of Camp Creek. This is owned by the McKenzie River Trust. Partners are EWEB, Bonneville Power, and also the McKenzie Watershed. And then there's a farm that leases the land, and they run the farm that's here. And this is all protected, right?
Right.
And
The trust owns it into perpetuity.
so it's going to be protected, but it's also an experiment. So they're figuring out how other farmers along the McKenzie can best use their property. As you know, it's obvious it's their choice, but who's not going to? If you guys set the standard and understand what you can and can't do, or what works and doesn't work, that's just helpful to everybody.
We're all learning together how we can do a better job of stewarding this river that we all rely on. And that has been a huge part of the education and partnerships and increased partnerships around, you know, the full community, even beyond. I mean, Rick, how great it is for you. So appreciate you coming out, walking the land, and sharing more about what is happening with the trust and who is the McKenzie
Not
River
just
Trust.
a pretty face, Rick.
And then Dave
really
as
great
well.
Well,
you
Dave
know.
sponsors a show because we all care. And I mean, this is my neighborhood, but it's really your neighborhood too, because if you drink water, my water comes from a well, but it also comes from a well that is feeding off of this McKenzie River. So, you know, I think that I'm going to be really weird here, but the Native Americans understood the concept of this river's life. And I think for generations we've lost that, and I think you guys are helping bring it back for us. And the response I'm seeing on here, people are going, this is awesome. They love watching this, because I think don't you think, you guys, when we educate ourselves and we really understand, when it's not like being shoved at us, it's going, here's the thing we can do to really preserve this for the future and for our kids. And when we have drinking water that tastes like our drinking water, and then you go to another place that doesn't have it, like
So true.
in the Midwest or back east. No offense to you people, but
We're fortunate.
we're very fortunate. But that takes work.
And we want to keep it this way. We
Right.
want to keep this river pristine. We want to keep it how we are, what we are able to how fortunate we are today. We want to be sure that these next generations that come after us can experience the same thing. And that's why it's so important to protect and set aside these natural lands that are still intact today, because as the population grows, especially in this area, and pressure for an increased development along the river, these larger areas that are still undeveloped, and let's set them aside and let them clean our rivers, clean our air, provide fish and wildlife habitat. Let them be. Just let them be.
Right.
And then we'll focus on, growing our community in a more thoughtful way.
You mean productivity means you can just do what you do naturally? You don't have to develop your productivity? Wow, what a concept.
We can do it all.
Get a little
We just
bit
need to
better
be
each time.
thoughtful. We need to be thoughtful. And I think with Dave, with Summit Funding, that's part of it. He is, creating and this opportunity for people to have homes here in our community, and people want to live here because we have all of these amazing natural resources.
Right.
And so let's find that balance. Let's find that balance.
It's important that we maintain and where it needs to be restore the symbiosis between our community and the watershed, and it's got to stay clean. I mean, our country went through a period where the waters were literally destroyed, and it got bad here too.
Oh yeah.
We're very, very lucky to have the McKenzie River is one of the most spectacular watersheds in the entire world. We're so lucky to live here.
And the Willamette is clean now too. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
it, because
Way cleaner than it was.
yeah,
Significantly.
I run along
Yeah.
it, and I know so does someone that she's very close to too. And it's
I
the
do
same
too.
thing. I see this little
On occasion.
the little pond turtle. They've been coming out. I took a picture the other day, and he's out sitting on a log in the sun, like sunbathing. and you're going, where can I see this? You know, and here's this little pond turtle just laying out there, and river otter, and like you said, cougar. You guys, it's all right here in our backyard, but you don't always see it, and we have to protect it in order to have it.
We got bald eagles swooping down into the river, pulling fish out in downtown Eugene.
Right.
That is spectacular.
Osprey pulling fish. I mean, incredible. We are fortunate.
So how can people get a hold of you guys to find out more about McKenzie River Trust and what you're doing?
Thank you, Rick. So again, McKenzie River Trust, for those of you that aren't as familiar with our organization, we are a nonprofit, local land conservation group. Essentially, as we've been talking about, we buy natural lands to set them aside forever. That is one of our priorities, and we only work with willing landowners. And we are working on behalf of the community, this community we all share. But we do work beyond the McKenzie. We actually work in 8 different watersheds, all the way out to the Siuslaw, parts of the Umpqua, the Long Tom, Coast Fork and Middle Fork of the as well. And so we're further reaching than our name. We were founded in 1989. We've been around a fair amount of time now, and just kind of grew into the other watersheds fairly organically because there were no other land trusts working there, and so we'd have landowners call and say, hey, can you help me?
So when you say you work with just willing people, what you're looking for is somebody who's on the river, somebody who has property along the river, who when they pass, they want to know what's going to happen to that land, and they're into the things you're talking about, and you guys will work with them on different ways. Everything from, yes, you can have your house here, to completely keeping it natural.
You know, it ranges. We do only work with willing landowners. Some are just looking to sell outright. Others, we will reach out and say, hey, if you're ever interested in having a conversation, we would be interested in protecting your property, whether it is through purchase, or we also use a tool called a conservation easement, where we work with private landowners who want to continue to own their land but want to be sure that it's not developed or subdivided. So,
I think that's super smart.
Yes, and each conservation easement is customized and unique based on what the landowner's needs and wants are, and what conservation values we are trying to protect. That goes with the deed. So again, it's another way we can protect these natural areas forever.
And Mr. Summit Funding won't do this, so I get to do it for him because he's not a pitcher. So you guys, if you agree with this whole thing and you really like what the McKenzie River Trust, Dave sponsors the show like that. So if you're looking for a home loan, or any kind of loan, actually, Summit Funding are the people that get it done fast. They get it done. They do it your way. And Dave does. I don't know what it is. He's got this magic touch that when other mortgage brokers can't get it done, Dave will get it done. But don't wait. I mean, go to him first. But he takes problems. He tells us the stories of people that have not been able to get stuff to go through, and he just knows the right people, and he knows the right realtors and people to deal with, that he can slip this stuff through. And I like it just because you care about the community, and I think that's important to people. When you care about this kind of stuff, and I agree with that, then I want to do business with people that have like minds. So anyway, any other things?
Yes.
Anything else you want to say? That's a
just
pretty good pitch for you, don't you think?
Rick, you're outstanding. You're hired. Just standing out here with you guys this morning, this is nirvana for me. It's beautiful. I'm glad that we have this, and it's just a few minutes from downtown, folks. Come out and enjoy it with us, please.
So you guys go on the McKenzie River Trust website, and you can find out about what's like. As I told you earlier, some middle school kids are going to be out here in a week, actually doing some conservation work out here. So local school children come out here. They probably know more than you do about it. And the University of Oregon, there's ways to get involved with what's going on.
And one other opportunity to get out on McKenzie River Trust property is coming up really soon. On June 9th, Saturday, June 9th, is our Green Island Get Outdoors Day. It's when we open up the gates to our 1,200-acre property where the McKenzie and the Willamette come together to the community. It's free to anybody that wants to come out.
Property.
Yes, it's amazing, and major restoration that we've been doing and are continuing to do out there, but there's all sorts of activities, guided tours, we'll have food, lots of great things to do for families, and an opportunity for you and your family and your friends to get outdoors and see and explore property that you don't get to see every day. And so again, that's June 9th, Saturday, and go to our website. All the information is there with the schedule of activities, and it's from 7 a.m. until 4.
And on the weekends, if you're you want some fresh goat meat, I know that sounds weird, but it's actually very good. Or chicken, or turkey, or duck, or rabbit, or eggs, anything natural. And then
They had a happy life.
They have a happy life, and as the summer comes on, they have vegetables, fruit, tomatoes. It's just right out on the corner, just past almost to the 4 Mile Post on Camp Creek Road, and they're open on the weekends I think it's 10 or 11 on, but you can also find that out by going on the site. All right, thanks again. Thanks for coming
Great.
out.
Thank you.
Dave,
Thank
thanks
you,
for
Dave.
sponsoring
My
it.
pleasure.
Now we get to walk back. Oh, you guys have a nice Memorial weekend. It's a
Oh,
long
yes.
weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Dave's got an anniversary going on, so he's going to have some
Oh,
fun and go take off.
congratulations.
And we'll see you next week. Take the day off, and then next week we got a whole lot of stuff planned for you. Travel Lane County's taking us to a sporting event. I can't even tell you everything, but a lot of stuff going on. Take this, share it on your page so other people know the great things that are going on in Lane County. All right, we'll see you guys later.
Great.
Bye-bye.